It wasn't long ago that Final Fantasy VII Rebirth was less than 10 days away, so I made the decision that any sane, rational person would. I played the demo. Oh god. Sorry about that, bad throat. As I was about to say before my awful cough, I played Dirge of Cerberus. And I hate myself. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back. It's me, Addy, again, and prepare to write a dirge for my poor soul. For yes, you heard me correctly. This past weekend, I took a leap of faith as everyone's favorite Crimson wannabe vampire, Vincent Valentine, into what is unanimously considered to be the absolute worst game within the compilation of Final Fantasy VII. That being Dirge of Cerberus, of course. Now, to some of you, this may come as a surprise, considering that Final Fantasy VII itself is unanimously considered one of the best games of all time, and a personal favorite of many, myself included. But to some of you, this may not be in the least bit surprising, considering that a lot of the offshoot media within the FF7 franchise has left a lot to be desired in various ways. And believe you me, Dirge of Cerberus leaves you with one desire by the end: to selectively erase your memory of playing it, and also maybe for a remaster someday down the line where Square can fix a boatload of this game's issues, but we'll get to that in a bit. Good. The end. Good. Good. I'm glad it's over. I mean, usually when nightmares end, they don't explicitly tell me like that, but I can appreciate that. So why did I decide to pull the trigger, and shoot myself in the process, by deciding to play Dirge of Cerberus? Well, it's because over the past 2 months, I've been doing a Road to Rebirth series, where I stream through the original FF7, the remake, its DLC, and the prequel to FF7, that being Crisis Core,
Me? Gungaga.
in order to hype up Rebirth's release. And because I finished all of these games well ahead of that, and don't want to stream anything other than FF7 media since my mind is currently fixated on that, I figured there's one thing left to play. One black sheep that I've been holding off for 17 years now, and in a way I feel like I owe it to myself to wade through this septic tank, since FF7 is my favorite game of all time, and I've got to experience everything in its vast compilation. The good, the bad, and the, well, the septic tank. So, God rest my soul, that's exactly what I did. I played Dirge, and for context, this wasn't my first time having anything to do with it. Many years ago, I watched a Let's Play of this game on YouTube, but the fact that I couldn't remember any of it was already a pretty big red flag. But of course, I ignored that big red flag since you pretty much play as a big red flag in this game. So what the hell is Dirge all about anyway, and what's wrong with it? So Dirge of Cerberus is a sequel to a sequel. Released in 2006 for the PlayStation 2, it takes place after the movie that follows Final Fantasy VII titled Advent Children. And for context, this was a pretty contentious film. For many, it wasn't great, but wasn't terrible either. It just didn't hold a candle to the phenomenal character writing and storytelling of the original game. But when Dirge came around the following year, it made Advent Children look like a masterpiece in comparison. The game features fan-favorite character Vincent Valentine as the main protagonist, who leads a battle against a secret organization called Deepground a year after the events of Advent Children. Deepground are attempting to resurrect a devastating monstrosity called Omega, while Vincent must put an end to it all while trying to control his periodic transformations into a powerful beast called Chaos. And the player gets to experience the package as a third-person shooter. So on paper, this all sounds really cool, right? A Final Fantasy VII game where you get to play as motherflippin' Vincent Badass Valentine, get to experience more adventures within the beloved world of FF7, and get to play a third-person shooter for once as opposed to the usual command-based battle JRPGs that Square Enix are known for. That sounds like a great time. It is not, in fact, a great time. Because what sound and concept is unhinged here in execution, and it all falls apart miserably. Oh my god, give me a break, guys. I'm just trying to go through a door. Ow! I can't even move. I can't even... There we go. Jeez! Oh my... Oh. Just let me take... Game, just let me take cover. Just let me take cover. I swear to God. Who hurt you, game? I'm gonna hurt him, because you hurt me. I can't! This game, man. Come on. There we go. Jeez. Holy fucking guacamole. Let's start with the story and characters. For the first 1 to 2 hours of the game, I was honestly kinda impressed and intrigued, admittedly. The game opens with a really cool pre-rendered cutscene recreating a pivotal moment from the original Final Fantasy VII, and then flashes forward 3 years later to show what Vincent has been up to and what he needs to do, which is investigate a series of kidnappings tied to Deepground and their nefarious activities. And yes, I'd heard nothing but shit about these new players over the years, but I still approached this game with an open mind. And I thought, damn, this story is kinda interesting. But then, the beyond those 2 hours portion came. Beyond those first 2 hours, once the game inundates you with the awful new characters full of cheesy melodrama who contribute nothing of substance to the story, nor growth to Vincent's character, who, by the way, remains the flat, edgy, stoic brick he is from start to finish in the game.
I suggest you use the sewer system extending from the old Mako reactor.
Sewer. How appropriate is that?
Shots fired at yourself, I guess, Vincent?
It's time we found out what Deepground is truly up.
Vincent's so edgy, man. He's so fucking edgy. You truly feel like ramming your head into a wall and dirging all over the place once the game is over. Vincent's 2 new allies, I hated them. They were extremely annoying. Nero and Weiss, the 2 big bads of the game, I hated them. They were extremely annoying. Oh.
Impossible!
I don't... Yeah, that's right. I missed something there, but I saw him fly back. That's all I need to see. Oh my god, I hate the fact that the portmanteau of Nero and Weiss is nice. Kill me. And Lucrezia Crescent, who granted isn't a new character, which makes this so much worse, is taken from an intriguing and sympathetic character you feel for within the mere 5 seconds that she's present in the original game, into a whiny crybaby of a character as part of Dirge Cerberus' main cast. No, please.
Why did I do what I
Dude,
did?
I swear to, if I had $1 for every single time,
I'm so sorry.
if I had $1, okay, thank God, we almost got there again. You guys know, by the way, I've been drinking her tears the whole time. That's how much she's been crying every single time since the start of time. Right, every single time I've taken a sip of water, gone to refill this glass, it's always been her tears. That's how much she cries. The only moments of respite that I got from this bullshit story were when I saw more at the game's beautiful pre-rendered cutscenes featuring cameos of FF7's iconic beloved main cast, like Cloud, Tifa, Barret, Yuffie, Cid, all just being themselves. And also kind of like the game when it shed more light on Vincent's backstory through flashbacks. But otherwise, sadly, this was a game where Vincent was nothing more than a pawn that the player was controlling to witness the stories of a bunch of wholly unsatisfying new characters. The only good thing I can really say about them here is that their designs were pretty solid, as always. I don't think Final Fantasy has ever dropped the ball when it comes to character design, and this game is no exception. And I can appreciate the lingering presence of hot FF ladies in this one.
It seems like the beast inside you went a little wild back there.
Dude, her character design is really funny to me for some reason. Like, there's just like Dr. Jekyll and Mrs. OnlyFans. Now let's move over to the gameplay, which was a travesty of third-person combat design. Now, yes, I do acknowledge that this is an old-ass game that predates modern third-person shooter systems that we've grown accustomed to and love, but that still doesn't free Dirge's atrocious gameplay from criticism. In this game, you run around as Vincent with an obnoxious green reticle in the center of the screen, which does its absolute worst to auto-lock onto enemies as you occasionally zoom in with the left stick to aim down your sights and deal with your foes more precisely, and don't end up being precise at all. Literally everything about this, from the control layout to the hitboxes to Vincent's stab movement itself, is the pinnacle of jank. The most annoying thing here was how he would stop running to slowly turn and walk every single time I tried to change his movement direction, making for some of the most jittery and rage-inducing movement I've ever experienced in a game. And pair that with the non-existent cover mechanics where you should be able to take cover behind objects and should be able to shoot at enemies around them, and I'm a hair away from destroying my console, which, thankfully never happened since I played this game through emulation. But that's right, this game is so embryonic when it comes to the third-person shooting genre that it doesn't even have cover mechanics. Even though it literally gives you the option to crouch behind obstacles that enemies can flip and shoot through anyway because they don't even have any colliders. Like, hello, why even give us this if we can't use it? I hate that the only way to deal damage in this game is to stand in front of enemies and take damage yourself first like a jackass. And this was especially prevalent in the god-awful boss fights, full of speedy enemies with undodgeable, unblockable, and borderline incomprehensible attacks, which Vincent, who is objectively the most agile character with an FF7, I don't know, maybe because of his ability to literally fucking fly, has to stand there and endure as though he's in a slapstick comedy. And folks, that's ultimately what I despise most about Dirge of Cerberus. The game has you playing as Vincent Valentine, a gunslinging, enigmatic powerhouse capable of morphing through air like a ghost as he fires a plethora of raining bullets and rips his foes to shreds as a variety of beasts, giving you the impression that you'll be playing as a Devil May Cry character that is the epitome of a hack and slash badass. But instead, we get a Diet Vincent from Wish with the inability to fly, only one extremely underwhelming limit break slash beast transformation, and overall, a character who, despite being able to double jump, which by the way doesn't really get you anywhere, feels really stiff to control with a complete lack of mobility. And that's the biggest crime here, considering that we get to see this incredible mobility in the cutscenes, which feature Vincent pulling off these tremendous feats, which we could only dream of doing in the incredibly disappointing gameplay itself. Ouch. Now, the thing that blows, like I said earlier, there's a dodge button, but it's practically useless. Like, I can dash around, but you feel like you have no mobility, which is a shame because you're Vincent Mother Flippin' Valentine. He's like the most mobile dude. If you've seen Advent Children, like, he can fly around and shit and like turn into his cape and become this red streak of flight. I wish he could do that in this game. Now, normally I would be more crestfallen about this, but I am actually looking forward to the future of this character, and I can't wait to see what they do with him in Rebirth and beyond, which I'm already confident is going to present his kit in an extraordinarily satisfying way if the awesome gameplay treatment of the other FF7 characters so far is anything to go by. And that leads me to talking about how Square Enix can fix a lot of the problems with Dirge of Cerberus in a potential remaster, remake, or remaster make situation, kind of like what Crisis Core Reunion was, which is something in between a remaster and a remake. Also, side note, if they do this, then please call it Dirge of Cerberus Reloaded. I mean, why wouldn't you? That's practically a no-brainer and the coolest title you could come up with for a game like this. But anywho, I digress. First off, to fix the game, Square Enix needs to totally redo the levels. Progression was a nightmare in this game. The layout was confusing, the map was illegible, and the game breaks its own rules it establishes. Sometimes Vincent can jump over rails and objects, sometimes he can't. Sometimes Vincent can open doors, sometimes he can't. And don't even get me started on the god-awful laser walls that he needs to open every 5 minutes by looting key cards off of corpses. All this needs to be completely torn down and redone from the ground up.
And only then, we cook.
Now, besides the obvious change to gameplay being a complete overhaul to Vincent's gunplay that incorporates whatever elements they give him in Rebirth and the inevitable third game in the remake saga, I feel like the underlying approach that Square Enix should take is a simple one. Implement standard third-person shooter mechanics. That's it. Allow the player to aim down their sights with the left trigger. Allow them to take cover behind objects and shoot over them. And for the love of all that is holy materia, get rid of this ridiculous green reticle that takes up a boatload of your screen. Hell, just replace it permanently with the smaller one that appears when you scope in for more accuracy. And let players decide themselves if they would like it to target assist or aim assist through the settings. Essentially, this age-old auto-lock system needs to go. And then, once these foundational mechanics have been implemented, embellish them with Vincent's aesthetic. Give him the ability to fly. Let players unleash his other limit break transformations from OG FF7, like the creepy Jason Voorhees Chainsaw Man, and give him more guns. Seriously guys, I'm actually going to pull an IGN moment here and say 2 out of 10. not enough guns. This was yet another issue I had with the game. There aren't enough guns. You get 3 and that's it for the rest of the game. Now granted, customizing each gun was really cool. I loved how I could tinker with each and every little part, change up the materia attached to them, as limited as they were, and see the visual effects of my upgrades being rendered in-game on the weapons. But sadly, this novelty wore off after the first 2 hours when I stopped unlocking anything new or impactful for these weapons, let alone any new weapons themselves. So that said, there are obviously some slightly good elements in Dirge of Cerberus, like the customization and the aforementioned character designs, pre-rendered cutscenes, and also the music, which, despite there being a few levels where the tracks were very generic and forgettable, the overall soundtrack, just like any other Final Fantasy project, was really satisfying. And also had to acknowledge that for a PS2 game, Dirge looked really good. There's no denying that in the 2000s, Square Enix was second to none in engineering ambitious games that really pushed boundaries when it came to visual and audio design, and Dirge epitomizes this. But sadly, Dirge also epitomizes something else from the 2000s, which is the overly edgy and emo nature of a lot of fiction and media at the time, and none of it has aged very well. What may have been considered cool and deep to a 14-year-old at the time playing this game is now looked back upon as being silly and cheesy.
The essence of death. Its ululations are like a lullaby.
And while there's no redeeming this facet of Dirge in a potential remaster make down the line, the buried potential of this game can nonetheless be upheaved in order to make it an incredibly fun game to play still, with the weak story, dialogue, and character stuff being something to laugh at in HD, as they'll add some funky pizzazz to the overall experience that's otherwise fun, as opposed to adding salt to the wound from an atrocious experience that'll make you cry instead of laugh, which is exactly what the game does to you in its current state. Oh my god, this fucking video game. What the fuck? So in the end, guys, Dirge of Cerberus is a game that if you decide to play, proceed with caution. You have to know what you're getting into here. If you're not an FF7 fan, you're going into a disaster and there's nothing at all for you in this package except for despair.
Shall I give you despair?
But if you are an FF7 fan, like myself, and want to see the continuation of its story post-Advent Children, then be prepared to have to put up with a whole bunch of painful drivel to get there, as this game is going to be a massive test of your time and patience. If you ask me, after having played this shit, as one FF7 fan to another, I just say to watch all the cutscenes on YouTube if you're in it just for the story stuff and not the gameplay, which, trust me, is going to end up being the case anyway, whether you like it or not, upon setting foot in this travesty. And honestly, I would have much rather approached this game as a movie, given how watching the cutscenes was sadly more fun than actually playing this janky mess. And when I say it was more fun, I mean it was marginally more fun.
We still have much work to do. My brother.
The fucking camera zoom and the way it goes, my brother. Now, thankfully, I am going to be awakening myself from this nightmare at the time of this recording by segueing right into a dream and a massive palate cleanser, that being the demo to Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. No coughs this time. That is for real. This is not a drill. By the time you've seen this video, I should already have experienced that. This is it. Kick his ass, Barrett. It's time to unleash this. Come on. Let's fucking go. What a fucking champion. Holy shit, man. Barrett always ending things in style. We did it. We did it on the hardest mode. Let's go. Phoenix beaten in the demo on the hardest. Fuck, I didn't even think we would be able to do it, but we did. I love it. I'm so ready for this game, man.
With an immortal ally
Remake
like
is back. And I might already be playing the full game itself, which comes out on the 29th. Who knows? I'll try and get this video up for you folks as soon as I possibly can. But if you do want to check out all my streams and VODs for all this FF7 stuff, then do be sure to head over to twitch.tv/irritableindian, or alternatively my second YouTube channel, where I store all the streams in high quality. Both of those are linked in the description. And before I sign off, I gotta acknowledge this. If you're wondering why I've completely lost my mind here seemingly, and I'm reviewing Dirge's Cerberus out of all the FF7 games I've played, then I encourage you to calm down, right? Calm yourselves down. Deep breaths. 1, 2, 3. 3, 2, 1. Calm yourselves down. Because I have reviewed and talked about virtually every other FF7 game on this channel in the past. So those videos are there for you guys to check out. And if you're into this kind of stuff, then do me a favor and subscribe to the channel, as that greatly helps me out and helps you folks out, since you can stay up to date on all my review videos, which is what I make around these parts. But thank you guys. Thank you so much as always for watching this review video. I hope all my fellow FF7 fans have a magical time playing through Rebirth. This is a game we have all been waiting for a long, long time. And it's about to be here finally. How freaking awesome is that?
It has a title. Dude, best birthday ever, dude, I swear. Next winter?
We made it, guys. So I want you all to stay happy, stay healthy, stay positive, and as always, keep on keeping on.